everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Lacey Live tonight. Shawn is not able to make it, but I'm here. I'm ready to go. Super happy to be with you on a fantastic Wednesday. And as you can see, the background is just a little bit different tonight because we are preparing all of our normal studio equipment to record BYS live for 2 straight days down at a beautiful hotel in Indiana. So I'm super excited about that event, but that's why I'm coming in hot on my normal everyday computer. But listen. So if Shawn's not with me tonight, obviously, I had to have a killer producer join me so that we can make this show as fun and as exciting as it always is. So any guesses on who's on the other side tonight? Who's going to join me in this Shawn and Lacey minus Shawn live show? I'm just wondering. We got a James in the house. Hey. We got Dexter. You guys, Dexter's been gone for almost 2 weeks. Dexter's in Florida without me, so I'm very sad. Bobby, birthday boy Pat. Listen, you guys, it is Pat's birthday today, so everybody wish Pat a happy birthday. God. Producer, show yourself. Who's going to join me tonight on Shawn? James and Lacey live. What's up, James?
What's going on? We couldn't let Pat do no pay Patty on his birthday, so
True.
had
It's
had to step in. Well, happy
James
birthday, Pat.
James is such a good guy, y'all. Like literally, it was Pat's turn to do the live tonight. Well, he volunteered, but it's his birthday. Like he needs to go on a birthday dinner or do something fun tonight because he still worked all day. So James was kind enough to step in and join me on this live. Happy birthday, no pay Patty. We got in there. Thanks, Paul. I love it. Well, good. We are giving away, I think we said $400 tonight. The pot is up
400.
to a solid $400. And we are giving away apparently 6 laws of branding. So I think I've got a couple in my head. I don't know if I can come up with 6, but we'll see as we do the show. But you know what, James? Like you are in charge of our brand. So I feel like you might have a couple of golden nuggets to give away as well.
I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. I'm curious to hear which ones you've got, and then hopefully by the end of this, we'll get up to 6, but we'll give them as many as we can.
And we're going to do things a little bit different tonight. I want to start with just a little bit of content before we do announcements, just to change it up and let people join us tonight. So I'm going to start with one, and then we'll just do a little ping pong. So you need to get a couple in your head.
Okay.
Um, I think the number one thing when it comes to branding is clarity of messaging.
Mm,
100%. I think
mm,
that a lot of people, especially when they're getting started in business, have a great brand, meaning they have a great logo, they have a great aesthetic, they have great colors, they have killer templates, and they've got like a mission and a passion behind the brand, but most people haven't fully figured out how to articulate the brand message. And if you can't articulate the brand message clearly, like who and do what statement, who you help and how you serve them, then the brand itself can get extremely diluted and you can have a mismatch and not be able to get your brand out there. And I just see that happen all the time. I mean, I think we've done that, right?
yep. No, you're exactly right. Being clear so that you, as the business owner and the people that work within your business, understand the branding. And so, if you're clear on that front, then it's easier to go out into the marketplace and make sure that your prospects and your clients have that same clear understanding. If you're the opposite of that is if you're not clear on your branding, it can kind of be a little messy when it comes to trying to reach the people that you want to serve and even serving those same clients.
Yeah, I think it serves two purposes. Number one, it's important to have clarity for the people that are looking at your brand. So people that are exposed to your social media, the clients that you're trying to connect with. any of your followers, but it's also really important for the algorithm to understand your
Mm,
messaging. And this is something I remember we both had kind of the same aha moment when we did a consultation for a company that helps build out YouTube brands. And they
mhm.
were like, well, if your message isn't clear and you're putting out content around sales one day and then marketing one day and then mindset another day and then you're talking about fashion another day and it's all on the same platform, what's going to happen is the algorithm doesn't know who to show the content to because it's confused on your messaging. I mean, I remember being like like that was
Yes,
an aha moment for me because I recognize that oftentimes we do that because we do have a lot that we can talk about, but oftentimes it can get confusing to the algorithm, not just to the client I'm trying to go after, but to the actual platform to figure out who to send it to.
absolutely. Yeah, that's 100% true. Glad that you brought that up because the algorithm is trying to get people to stay on the platforms longer, and it has to find a way to categorize your content. If you're creating content on, it doesn't matter whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, it's trying to categorize it and show it to people. um, it's kind of known as what's called the interest graph. So whatever
Mm.
you're interested in, that's why we all have experienced this. But if you watch one video of, say, like a cooking video, and you watch the whole thing, then the next several videos may be cooking videos. And if you watch a sports highlight, then more of those videos will pop up. So it has to, if you're seeing that, that means that those accounts and those pieces of content have been categorized and is serving it to the people and trying to predict what they want to watch. So if you do your job at categorizing your content from the start, then it makes it easier for that to go out to potential people that you're looking to target.
Okay, so I got to know. That makes me think. So I'm going to ask you, and then I want everybody that's in the audience, whoever's willing to play the game, let us know if I was the Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube algorithm, what would I think your number one interest is? Like, what
Oh,
I
who, me
want to know.
personally?
You, I want to know you, and then I want everybody else in our chat. You tell me if I am the Instagram or Facebook anthem algorithm, what do I think your interests are? So we got a couple. We got golf. We got outdoor adventure. I want to know. I want to know what everybody's is. But what is yours, James? What does the algorithm think your number one interest is?
Oh, see, I have a couple algorithms based on a couple of different accounts that I have, but the main one, the main one is entrepreneurship and like content creation. Obvious, that kind of makes sense. But then I have another one that is strictly like meditation, like calm music type video. Like if you just pull that up, like all of it are like these long 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour videos of like meditation and like relaxing music and stuff like that.
Because you spend most of your time on YouTube, right? Like over Instagram or yeah, for sure. So
Yes.
your algorithm looks a little bit different. We've got some good ones in here. We've Oh, I love it. So knitting. I can't even, you know what? I don't think I've ever seen a knitting video come up in my feed anywhere. It probably will now because I just said it out loud. Track and field dad jokes, Dan Lyons with the dad jokes. I love that. Entrepreneurship. Yep.
Or
Do you know when
Moses.
do you know when a dad joke becomes a dad joke? When it becomes apparent. That's good. I love
That's
it.
a good
Golf.
one, 10.
Yeah. I definitely think, and for sure, the algorithm for me is food number one. Like the amount of recipes that I see on a daily basis is astounding for sure. And then I would say number two is like organization, home design. Like I get tons
Ooh.
of stuff. And then number three would be entrepreneurship. But yeah, I like uh, all three of those things. But I probably save on average about 10 recipes a day of things I want to just like go back and look at or cook. So yeah, food funny memes. Yeah, yeah. I get a lot of good stuff. But it's really interesting. And I just like hope that you guys are paying attention to the things that you're putting down, because this is a great question for you to ask about your ideal client. What in the Google algorithm, the Instagram algorithm, whatever platform you're pushing most of your chips in, what would the algorithm think that your ideal client's number one interest is? And is there a way for you as a brand to show up in that interest algorithm? So even if you are a someone like me, an entrepreneur, could I actually create entrepreneurial recipes if my ideal client, that was their number one interest was food, right? How do I
Mm.
show up on that, right? Like, so I think that that's a really good thing, but that also has to be super clear in your brand messaging that you are like me, I am a coaching platform for service providers, right? A consultant for service providers, but also happen to really care about health and food, right? So it would have to be clear in the brand messaging. But that's a good the interest algorithm, interest scale. What did you call it?
The interest graph. The interest
Interest graph.
graph.
Interest graph. You guys should look into that for your brand and your ideal clients. Look at that. We're already dropped. Do you guys like that? I feel like
Yes.
we're dropping some gold nuggets.
Yes.
I love it.
That was good. I like that suggestion of asking your ideal client or thinking about that. What would be on your algorithm? Like what topics would be in your algorithm? I like that question.
Yeah, I think so too. We need to add that to our ideal client questionnaire. I think that would be good. What else? We got anything else on branding? That was like, I feel like that was like three things wrapped in one.
Right? It really was.
It
Um,
really was.
I've got something. I'm not sure. We might take this one and turn into two or three, but I was just thinking never underestimate the brand. And so it's kind of like don't underestimate the power of a brand. That's maybe a better way to explain it. One of the things that I've learned through my YouTube algorithm watching is if you are able to increase the value or the size, the strength of your brand, it allows you to charge more for, say, a commodity. And so I learned this watching one of Alex Hermosi's videos, and he talks a lot about, say, The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Conor McGregor, Kylie Jenner. And if you know a little bit about them and their business side of things, they were able to start these brands that were essentially just a product. Kylie Jenner has the commodity of cosmetic products.
Right?
Dwayne and The Rock and Conor McGregor have the commodity of an alcohol, the tequila, and then I think the scotch, right? Proper
Yep.
12. And so those are commodities, like anybody can make those. But what allowed them to have such a large valuation of those companies was the brand attached to them, the personal brand.
Mhm.
Same thing for Nike or even some of the brands that you guys have talked about over the years, Chanel, like any of the luxury brands. Those are all commodities, but the brand is so strong, so it allows them the opportunity to charge a premium for that product. Um, Even though you can get a purse or a shirt or a suit at a much cheaper price, but the branding is what allows you to charge a premium. So for service providers, it gives you the option to have a premium price on your services um, with the correlation of a stronger brand.
Well, and I think that that's an important thing to note. Like when we're talking about six laws to make your brand as strong as Apple, really what that means is like you have to put in the work to create strength in the brand, right? I think if we just
Hmm.
take it back a step further, so many of us spend so much time on honing in our skill set, like the thing that we do. How are we going to sell it? How are we going to present it? Like, how can I get better at delivering results and value? But sometimes we forget to actually build the brand itself, because while the brand is, I think, tied to the results and the things that you get, a brand also needs to stand alone. Otherwise, doesn't become a sellable asset, right? Like
Hmm.
if a brand can't stand alone and have positive brand equity, and it's fully dependent on your ability to deliver results, it's going to be really hard to sell. And I think that a lot of you as service providers totally understand that. That's why we have difficulty selling our businesses, is because the brand is dependent on your ability to deliver instead of elevating the brand as a whole. Chanel could potentially deliver a shitty product and it wouldn't actually hurt the brand, right? Like
Mm.
it could. I mean, in fact, it has. I mean, I bought a Chanel purse and we all know, the handle snapped off completely. Like it was not a good product, but it was Chanel. And I still felt like it was valuable because the brand was so strong and they've done such a good job. So if you want to build a strong brand, you have to ask yourself, how much time do I spend intentionally building it, thinking about it, growing it, talking about it? How well does my messaging and clarity around my brand reach my ideal client, and do they understand it? Do they understand the mission of the brand, the vision of the brand, the core values of the brand? And have I done the work in order for that to be perpetuated through internally in my company and externally into my community? Because if you want to be as strong as Apple, you've got to do the type of work that Apple has done on their brand, not just the product, right? Like
Absolutely.
Apple has killer messaging.
They're one of the best case studies, examples, the gold standard for so many things, including their brand. And they've been around for so long. And you kind of
Mhm.
just think like, it'd be hard to think of a world without Apple. I mean, that's at some point, like maybe something happens, like, or just technology advances so much or it turns into something else. But it's just so strong and like such a staple, at least in my mind. It's like, I can't really imagine a world without Apple.
I mean, and literally a world without Apple means a world run by like PC users and Android users. I'm out. Like, just take me out. I'm done.
Right? Oh my gosh.
I'm prepared for a civil war, but like a war without apples, just PCs, I'd be losing that battle. I want to throw my PC computer at our office out like 5 times a day. So I would pick that battle. So funny. But you're right. Like and that's the thing. When you think about the Apple brand, you think creative, but minimalist, right? Clean, like uh, elevated, high end, like, and everything about their brand that speaks true. You go into an Apple store and it's clean lines, it's minimalist, but it still evokes this like creative feeling because of the way that they have it structured. I mean, that's really powerful. Their Apple compound in Silicon Valley, in Santa Clara, like also the same thing. It's clean, it's minimal, but it entices you to think creatively, which is what the Apple brand is all about. That has nothing to do with the product itself, right? Like that's the brand, and then the products align with that. So it's like, how much have you done on your brand? And if you feel like your brand equity is not as strong as your need to deliver results, you probably need to do more work. That's what I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's
I
do
want
a
to get
couple.
your
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to get your take on we talk about the brand. I know the late Steve Jobs was like so paramount in kind of creating that brand. And I remember, shortly after, a couple years after he had passed away and Tim Cook kind of took over as CEO, some people were saying like they kind of like Apple lost its luster a little bit. So I'm just curious to know, since you grew up in Silicon Valley, kind of what you think about over the past, I don't know how long it's been, but maybe 10 years at least. Do
Mm,
you think Apple has continued? Do you think that their growth has like tapered off a little bit since Steve Jobs? Do you think now with some of the new innovations they have with like the Apple Vision Pro and different stuff, like or do you think they've kind of just stayed on track? Maybe just a little blip with Steve Jobs
mm.
passing away. Just kind of curious. Just thought of
That's
that.
a good question. I'm curious too. In the chat, let us know if you think Apple is evolving the same way it was when Steve Jobs was running it, or if you think it's stagnant or if it's going backwards. I will tell you because some of you all know my story. Everybody likes this question. Some of you know my story. Like, so my cousin still is the number two accountant in all of Apple. Like, the amount of money that she moves on a daily basis is absurd. Um, what her door was two doors down from Steve Jobs while he was still alive. I was younger and I used to like, he always had his door open and I used to walk by and he would be in there working and I just like, little me just waving at this man in black. No idea who he was, right? But I do think really interesting. Sean and I were going through a bunch of our old office like boxes and stuff. Were you here when we were doing that? And Pat, I know, and maybe
Oh,
Bobby was here too. And I was pulling out all of my old, like Apple, like I don't even know what they were, the little shuffles, and
oh yeah.
like I have Apple products that like Pat and Robert had never seen before. And it was crazy. It reminded me, it was because their innovation and creativity, they were evolving products early on at such a rapid rate. Everything looked different. It had more capabilities. Like when I think of the iPhone now, I feel like it doesn't change a lot. All they do is just make it slightly better and tweak it, but it still feels like the same phone. If you go back and look at the like history of the iPod Shuffle and all the different varieties and versions that they had of it, like it was a completely different shuffle from one year to the other. And I think that that's what Steve Jobs was brilliant at, is having the same product, making it a little bit better, but making it feel completely different, making you interact with it differently. And I don't feel like Apple has done that in the same way since he's been gone.
I love that answer and actually agree 100%. I do remember the shuffle, some of those. I never had one, but I remember those. But the feeling I had with Apple was that it's like each product they came out with, it was like, are you serious? They just like, how did they create that? Like, we've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
Um, but now it's yeah, it's small, minor tweaks, like not really taking too many risks, and maybe they don't have to. I mean,
Mhm.
they're one of the most successful companies ever, so maybe they don't have to. But I think the closest thing to like new innovation would maybe be the Apple Vision Pro, and so we'll see
Right.
more of that coming up. I think next year, but
Yeah.
that was the first time I got like really excited about an Apple product. It's been a while since I really felt that way.
And I got to clarify because I see Brooklyn in the chat. She's like, I can't believe that they didn't know the. So it's not that they didn't know the iPod Shuffle, but you guys, if you saw how many different versions I had of this, I had one that was so small, it looked like a memory stick. It's like this
Oh,
big, and it's about this big, and it was like an iPod Shuffle. Most of
wow.
them that people know are like the square ones that have like the round. That is not this. Like that's what I said. I have so many products that people hadn't seen before. Also, because I grew up there and lived in Silicon Valley, I had access to a lot of these things when they first came out, and maybe they didn't hit. But that's what Steve Jobs was really good at. Again, bringing you into a product line and just constantly evolving and changing the experience while tweaking the hardware inside of it, right? And I think that that's like this is it, you're right. It's not as exciting anymore. It feels the same. So yeah, but you got to keep evolving your products. I love it. Everybody says they had the white shuffle. People remember jamming out in the backyard with the MP3. It's so good. But again, Apple, right? They not only have they like have you wanting products, new products more, but they've done a really good job of embedding your memories with the products that they previously had, right? People don't forget the Apple products that they had. They're unforgettable products, which is I think really a powerful thing that they've done as well. Hmm. Yep. I love it. Let's do an announcement. What do we got for an announcement?
So today we had BDC member Grant Dennis, his appearance on the None of Your Business podcast released. Make sure you go check that out. This was the second episode that we did in the Las Vegas poker room at the Venetian Resort. So make sure you support Black Diamond Club member Dr. Grant Dennis. It was an awesome episode
That's a good
there.
episode. Love it. Everybody check out Grant. What do we got next?
We also have, believe it or not, Crew 52 member Dr. James Taylor, and
Is
he
that a real
isn't.
is that a real name? Is this a real
I,
person?
I don't know. I don't know. That might be a fake Crew 52 member. I'm not
Great crew,
sure.
great crew team
Uh,
member, Dr. James Taylor of Aspire Chiropractic. One of my favorite people. He is all. Hey, if you want to follow somebody where you can see his brand shine through, you got to follow James. And if you can help him out, drop a review, use that QR code. But I also think in overachiever fashion, we have a second slide for James Taylor. Please show our second slide for Crew 52 member James Taylor. I love this. His podcast is phenomenal. Like when we talk about personal brand identity, he's done a really great job of showcasing who he is and what he's about through his podcast. So you guys definitely need to check that out. I also got to say I really like this slide. People are a little concerned though because they feel like he's yelling at them in all caps. So, but outside of that, please follow James' podcast on Spotify or Apple, and make sure also you give him a review, an endorsement on his Office Google, the
Oh,
Googly.
the Googler.
Yeah, drop a review, the Googler. He's definitely shouting. All right, James. Well, we appreciate you. We're excited to have you as Crew 52 member this week. Anything else on the announcements?
Yep. We've got reach more people coming up in just a couple months. Uh,
Just a couple months. Yep, we're super excited about this. I think invitations went out this week, right?
yes, invitations went out this week. Natalie would know for sure, but yep, that'll be here before you know it. I was actually, Pat and I were talking about the experience, Make Better Offers, last week on Shawn and Lacey Live. And so I was telling him while we were live just how much I really liked and was impressed by you and Sean, what the work that you guys did at Make Better Offers. So I was super excited about reach more people and for the people that are going to be coming there working on their marketing for 2025.
Yeah, it was definitely a great event. And again, Reach More People is all about ensuring that you are fully locked and loaded with your marketing calendar, and not just the calendar itself, but the action steps that are necessary to execute on it. Because here's the deal: if we're going to talk about brand, we're going to go back to brand now. If we're going to talk about brand, part of showcasing your brand is having a cohesive and strategic plan on how you are going to get your brand out into the world, right? And
Mm.
so I think that that's also one of these other laws. Like you can't create positive brand equity, and your brand cannot become known if you are not doing anything to get it out there, right? Hanging a sign on your door no longer is enough for people to understand and know your brand. And so part of Reach More People is ensuring that you have a plan in place to get your brand out into the world. What do you need to do? What platforms do you need to go on? What action items do you need to create? What kind of content do you need to be putting out there? And then also what's behind the brand that drives it, I think is also important, right? And when it comes to marketing.
That's a bomb drop right there. Got to have a plan to get it out. And so, yeah, it starts with marketing. And actually, Sean was on with Michael Port earlier today, the super simple sales masterclass. They did a great job with that. And multiple times it was said that it starts with your ideal client. So finding ways to speak to them um, through your branding is going to be really important for you to ultimately grow your business and gain more clients.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is you do need to have a plan, but I think more importantly, you need to have a plan to hold yourself accountable to actually deliver on the plan. Like, I'm curious as to how many of you have had a marketing plan before. Let's just be real. How many of you had a marketing plan before and didn't actually stick to the marketing plan, right? And it's like we do all this work, we put all this thought into it. We strategically place things on our calendar, and then all of a sudden the month comes up, it's February, it's March, and you're like, "Oh, snap. I was supposed to be talking about X, Y, and Z in order to get my brand out there." And you didn't, right? And so, really, also, it's about having a plan to execute the plan. I think that's what a lot of people need in order to get their brand out there. What else? What do you guys want to know about brand? You got me and James here.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
This might help. So you've done a great job. You and Stacy have done a great job with Well Infused and the branding behind that. Everything from the in-person, actual physical location of the storefronts and everything inside of it, to the website and the colors and the podcast that you guys are going to be coming out with. And so that to me like has already made an impression as far as like the aesthetic of it. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, Well Infused has this certain vibe and aesthetic and feel like it creates a feeling and emotion inside of me, I guess, um, for that experience. And so the question is for someone else who might be trying to create some type of aesthetic, it doesn't have to be the same as what you guys have been going after with Well Infused, but if they want to create some type of aesthetic as far and cohesiveness with colors and styles and fonts and feeling, like what kind of beginner first tips would you give them to like start if they're starting from scratch or they have a business but they want to create like an aesthetic for their for their brand.
If you're starting from scratch and you don't have any clients yet, like you have to, again, starts with the ideal client. You have to start to curate who the ideal client is. And then when you begin to start to understand them, you have to figure out other places that they do business. So, where do they shop? Where do they spend their
Mm.
money? And you literally need to go visit those businesses because if visit those businesses and step into that world, feel the aesthetic, understand what it looks like, what does it smell like, what is the type of like style that you think that that particular business evokes, and then taking all of that data and information and say, when it comes to my service, which of these things would apply and how can I utilize those to begin to create a appropriate aesthetic feeling and brand when in order to attract those ideal clients, right? I think we all have made the mistake of when we're brand new, we create something that we like. While that's
Mhm.
nice because yeah, you're in your business all the time, that doesn't serve you unless you are your own ideal client. And most of my clients that I talk to, you would make a really bad customer to yourself. This is the
Mhm.
reality. And so if that's true, you need to have other people in mind when you create that. But like we talked about Apple, like our team, most of you probably watching are Apple users, which also tells me that you like things that make you feel that you can step into a creative space, but you don't like to necessarily be overwhelmed with a lot of stuff. You like clean, minimal, you like kind of that look. And so I would want my brand to slightly evoke that when I create it, right? If that was the case. And so it's really understanding that. Yep. It's not
I
you, it's the
like that.
consumer. Yeah. Mhm.
I like that. Yeah, that could apply for anyone, either if they're just starting from scratch or even if you're looking to do like a rebrand. And you guys have been through that as well, rebranding your business. Um, yeah, finding the ideal client, what other businesses do they interact with, and what are those look like, and kind of match it with your own service. That's really good. We've got a question
Ooh.
from Archie. How do you choose color scheme and font for your brand?
Oh, the color scheme is interesting. It's a little bit more difficult, but first off, okay, I said go and visit places, right? Pay attention to the color scheme and also as importantly, pay attention to the materials that they utilize. Look, this that went away for a really long time. I don't know why it's back. Also pay attention to the types of materials that they utilize. Like that also means like fabrics. Are they utilizing leathers? Are they utilizing like soft fabrics? Lots of wood? Is it more organic materials? Is it more high end gold tones? Like what is it? Because when you can also look at the types of materials that are utilized, you can actually extract color schemes from materials that are really powerful. So that would be if you were visiting places in person. The other thing that you can do is you can also just visit those places' websites and take a look around because a lot of times color schemes will be very apparent um, if they've done a good job on their branding. on their website, right? And so I always start there, and then I pull colors that I feel like are representative of the emotion that I want to elicit in a brand. So again, if you want people to feel happy and uplifted, you want brighter colors. If you want people to feel calm and soothed, you want more like softer tones, right? If you want people to feel like kind of excited and energized, you want more like really vibrant colors. So you have to think about too, what am I trying to elicit? And then you can start doing research on colors and what those specific colors that you like, what kind of emotion or feeling do they evoke? What do they represent? And see if they line up. Then you could pick your base colors. And then there's like apps online where you could say, these are the colors of base colors of my brand. Can you create an entire color palette off of it? Done.
I love that. I love that last one. Yeah, those apps are super helpful, helping you
Mm-hmm.
see and visualize different combinations for those
Mm-hmm.
colors.
Yep. Yeah, Carolyn's saying psychology of interior design, like that branding is like understanding the psychology of your ideal client and what the space is meant to evoke, and how those two things go together. That's really, really important. But yes, I love it.
I've got a question if we're wrapping up our six laws.
We
I'm
are.
curious. So we talked about Steve Jobs, and you said, when you used to live there, your cousin, still the accountant, you would walk by his office and you'd see him in his black. And so he was known for wearing that black turtleneck for a
Yeah,
long time. Mark Zuckerberg, he would wear, like, was it the blue V-neck he would
sure.
always wear?
Yeah.
Um, and so even someone like Alex Ramosi does like the tank top with the flannel. So I'm curious, everybody in the chat, and then we'll ask Lacey as well. What do you think if Lacey had to pick like her signature outfit, like she would wear it every single day on stage, doing coaching calls, Shawn and Lacey live podcast? If there was only one thing that she would wear, what do you think that that would be? Get as detailed as you can, as you want. So
Ooh.
we'll see what everybody says, and then Lacey, I want to know what you would pick if you had to
Like
choose.
this is like those old school like dating games. Like, how well do you know each other? And I like write it. And I'm like, this might be curious. They match. Oh, I love it. So, oh,
That's funny.
Pascal said red bottom shoes.
I like that.
Yeah,
We'll put
that's
like a
that.
whole outfit together.
Yeah, uh-huh. I like it. Who else? No pants. But yes, it's true. Newlywed game. That's what it was called, Ted. I love that. Overalls
Cool.
and cats. JT, you know me so well. Black and white dress, T length. Look at this.
It's
Heels and dress.
interesting that people have like an answer for this. That just kind of goes to show that, you do have that aesthetic. Large white button down shirt, black pants or skirt. Hmm.
See, it's interesting because you got me at I would wear it every day. But I would say the majority of stuff in my closet, if you were to look in my closet, um, are dresses. Yeah, like for sure. And not like just like on stage dresses, but like sundresses and longer dresses. Yeah, T-length dresses. Like I would wear dresses and tennis shoes, dresses and heels, dresses and, like I think for sure, yeah, most everybody in there's got a dress or some sort of skirt in there. So, yeah, absolutely. There was a long time, power of personal brand, long time I spoke on a ton of stages. I always wore dresses, and one time I wore pants. One time I wore pants on stage. I can't tell you how many people were like, what's going on? I've never seen you in pants before. I thought that is the strangest comment because I obviously wear pants all the time, like in my daily life. But my brand, when I spoke and showed up in that way, was represented by a dress, right? And so that's how strong your personal brand can be. But yes, you guys are right. I would wear dresses and then whatever appropriate shoe, depending on what I was doing. I think
I
that would be
like
the
it.
answer.
That's what I was gonna guess. So I guess
Yeah,
everybody's
you
on point.
You would know for sure. I love it. That's good. What would you wear every day, James?
Hmm. Well, if it was warm enough, Probably this is kind of one of the shirts. It's kind of like a blend, like a polyester like blend shirt and shorts, kind of like running shorts. If
Yeah,
I just That's just me.
it's the total Silicon Valley, like, go to work outfit. Everybody, all those, everybody in creative land, IT, all of that. Yep, I love it. Blue shorts and active wear. You got it.
Yes.
I love it. Oh, that's good. That's a good question. But yeah, but again, if I do a good job at my brand, you guys know, you that means you understand my style. And if part of my brand is I love fashion, that means that my style should be front and center. And so hopefully I've done a good job of that. Good
For
question,
sure.
James. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff tonight. I hope you guys got a
Yeah.
lot out of it. Now we've got one last thing that we have to do before we go.
Give away some
Oh,
money.
gotta give away some money. All
All right, four hundred
right.
dollars goes out tonight. So drawing up to four fake names in the digital
Four
canasta
fake
for
names
you.
on No Pay Patty's birthday. Let's see if we get no pay on Patty Ice Day. Let's go.
Let's go. Oh,
Oh my
Dana
God.
Dilling. I
Not a
think I
fake
saw
name.
her.
I, 'Cause I was just with Dana this last week. There she is. Oh my God.
Oh,
Dana, look at
wow.
that. First name drawn. No fake name. No
Wow.
fake. Dana, Dana, Dana.
Wow.
Nice.
I
Dana,
think
that's the universe back for all your investment in yourself this weekend. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say I think that might be the fastest winner that
Ooh,
we've ever had. Like there was still like 20 some seconds left on the timer.
Dana. Do you think we broke a record tonight?
I think that was a record for sure.
This would be
100%.
like when, in the UFC when they go in and the bell starts and it just he runs up and just boom knocks him out.
Boom.
That's what it was. It was the quickest knockout we've ever seen. Straight out here, didn't even hesitate. I won, I won, I won. She was ready to go. She is speedy, she said.
Yes,
I
she
love
was
it. Well,
ready.
congratulations, Dana, on your $400. I hope that you reward yourself with something really nice because you absolutely deserve it. So,
Congrats.
yeah. All right. Well, good. Well, I hope you join us next week. Are we on next week?
We will not be on next week.
That's what I thought. We're not on next week. The week after, the pot will start back over at $300. And don't worry, friends, we'll remind you, Sean and I will be recording, I believe, in where are we going to be, James? And James will be with us. I
It'll be
think
in
that day,
Vegas.
Vegas. We will be in Vegas recording a bunch of podcasts and content to get out to you to introduce you to some more amazing people. So, and then we'll see. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.